Hello there and welcome to the StarSound.com. Today we've got another review check for you, the biggest one of the year so far. My friend Andrew Muggleton is here with me.
Hello, hello, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm excited because this is probably the first review check that we've done where we've actually both played the game, I think.
Yeah, I think it might well be.
So I'm excited about that. The game in question is probably the biggest game of the year so far. Well, for a bit, maybe for
For a
about
little bit.
7 days until something else comes out. But that game is Watch Dogs.
Yes, it most certainly is. Um, Watch Dogs, eh? Very
So
interesting game.
so we've been waiting for this game for a long time. We're all excited about it to come out. And then, we play it. You played it before I did. I played it, and you reviewed it. And
Mm.
I just want to know what Watch Dogs has done to kind of just turn you off so much and just anger you.
Well, it's just a bit. I think my general thoughts of Watch Dogs as a game is that it's a fun to an extent, cheap imitation of other games.
Ooh,
In most regards. I think it is trying to follow a formula that Grand Theft Auto has pretty much perfected and trying to stamp its own authority on that, but comes off as amateurish in the way it's done. I think is the easy way. To me, it feels like an amateur game has been made with Watch Dogs. It's not. I don't think they've learned anything from other games when looking at other games from the other games that that studio has actually made with Assassin's Creed and stuff like that. I don't think they've actually learned anything. It still just seems so basic
okay.
with its ideas.
So for
That
people that might not have played Watch Dogs, I'm sure you would have seen adverts for it at least or something like that around. It's set in Chicago. We've got our main character, whose name is Aidan Pierce. That
that's
almost
one.
which is something we'll get to, I'm sure, because how forgettable he was. And basically, he's this sort of, is he a cyber terrorist? He's a hacker.
He's a
Um,
hacker, hacking all the news right now. So
and so the story basically ends up being about revenge. He tries to find out who, or tries to track down the people who killed his niece.
yeah,
And it's kind of, it goes on like that, and you sort of, yeah. So that's kind of what you're doing
yeah.
in this game. And on your way, you can sort of hack uh, everything pretty much. You can hack bank accounts from people. You can hack the traffic lights. You can hack roadblocks. All sorts of cool stuff like that.
Mm. Hack people's phones and see the text messages they're sending.
Yeah, and that,
Maybe even hack the cameras.
yeah, and it's
Who knew you
surprising
could do
how
that?
often you that's topical, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
surprising how often you can find out about crimes just from looking at random people's texts, isn't it? It
Mm.
happens probably like at least like 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Um, so let's start positive because I feel
Yeah.
so.
Listen.
You gave it, I think you gave it 6 out of 10, didn't you?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So there was some stuff good about it.
Yeah, I think it does a few new things which are done to varying degrees of success. Specifically, the hacking theme is not something that I've seen really kind of looked into that much by kind of a major game. That whole theme of hacking and you specifically being the hacker. Um, so there's a lot of the interactivity with the world and the people you see and stuff like that. It's fun, it's novel, it wears a little bit thin as the game goes on. I think it's very exciting and fresh and different as you go through it initially. But once you realize that there's a set of 10 different things that you can kind of do, especially with driving and kind of going around like that, um, you kind of wish, oh, maybe there was something a bit more, like there was more to the different things you could do. As they're very binary things, you press it, it does a thing, and then it has an output. It doesn't ever have a different output than the one you do, kind of. Um, so that's fun
Yeah.
at first. The multiplayer I think is really really cool the way they've done it, especially with how seamless it is between your single player and your multiplayer experience. Especially you press a little button on your phone and then it will go into like a hacking mode where you're pitted 1v1 versus another player. Um, you still look as your character, However, in their world, you just look like a random pedestrian, and in your world, they look like a random pedestrian. So you have no idea who it is, other than the fact that they may be sprinting around looking like an idiot. But it's this whole kind of mini game of cat and mouse, trying to find the person as they're hiding around and doing stuff like that. But it all just happens in your world as you're going along, and it's just very seamless and it works really well.
Yes, there's no coming out and like waiting in lobbies or anything like that. Or
No, yeah, it kind of, there is a waiting in the lobby, but it happens whilst you're playing the game, so it does it all in the background, which is really clever and really well done.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. The combat and the general kind of gameplay mechanics of when you're moving about, nothing particularly wrong or inoffensive about how it plays. It's fairly good. Again, nothing jumps out as being amazing, but there's nothing wrong with it, with the gameplay side of stuff.
I mean, for me, I found there are specific parts where you have to like unlock CTOS towers, which are kind of the same as getting viewpoints in Assassin's Creed or whatever it was in Far Cry as well, the big towers and all that. It's
expanding your map, kind of.
Yeah. And there was also so some of them, and also some of the parts where you have to infiltrate gang hideouts. Those bits are awesome because you can, like, some of them you can do without even going in and killing anyone. You can just hack between camera to camera and hack a device, and that's it. You're out there. You don't even have to kill anyone. But the bits where you do end up having to kill people are awesome. Like having a silenced pistol, going in, taking a guy out, blowing another guy up by hacking a explosive plate on the floor or something, which seems a bit careless, having explosive plates all over the floor in your gang hideout. But whatever. Like that bit I really enjoyed, and I did all of the gang hideout stuff as soon as I could in the game, and like my problem then was I'd done all the fun stuff and I didn't want to do anything else. And like even the storyline, which I didn't hate so much, it just seemed too long. It seemed too
it drags on. It kind of keeps on going through the motions of discussing about various different themes that it wants to talk about and stuff, but then it just kind of moves on without really doing anything in that area, and it just keeps on going. Like every time you feel like, oh great, this is like the end of a really big bit, and then it's like it just kind of continues for a little bit longer. But no, I completely agree. Some of the side missions are really well done, really fun, but it kind of suffers from the open world nature of it, that it gives you everything pretty much straight away. Like you don't, after like maybe 1 or 2 missions, you can pretty much go do whatever you want other than jumping ahead to further in the story. Obviously you've got to continue the storyline in its way, but you can go do whatever you want, and you get a feel for what things you enjoy and what you don't. You then start doing all the things you enjoy, and then you realise you still got a game to play. And
that's literally what I did. Yeah,
there's nothing fun left to play. It's another one of these things that I've said previously with Thief really suffered from, is just the fun level of the fun factor in the game. I think is severely lacking for most of it, which for me more and more it's becoming a thing. If a game is fun, it's just more enjoyable. No matter what it's doing, whether it's a Dark Tale or whether it's not, as long as it's fun to actually have the experience, it makes it worthwhile. But
and I mean, like the story just plods along, and it's not really satisfying.
Yeah,
I think
especially the ending. We won't mention the ending, but the ending, I just feel like it just comes, it happens, and then the credits are rolling, and then it's like, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously it teases Watch Dogs 2. Or it kind of teases Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 is without that happening.
Guaranteed. The game sold really, really well, so but yeah, I think those are kind of the main things that I generally picked up with the problems with it. There's a lot of smaller things as well. Like for me, I didn't enjoy the driving at all. I found it really annoying, especially with a lot of the missions require you to be quite precise with the driving, and you have to do pretty intricate things. And the second the mechanic of the driving fails, it's so frustrating and having to restart it. And some of the missions can be fairly lengthy as well, and it just starts you back at the beginning, and it's a bit of a nightmare with that. As well as also, I think city center Chicago, very well realized, really detailed, a lot of the things from going to Chicago, like I remember some of the things, specifically seeing them there. But the second you go out of it, there's nothing to it. It's bland and boring, kind of everywhere around the city centre.
Yeah.
Second you go over those bridges over the river, it's just you completely forgettable. I couldn't remember a single area from them. Everything's the same.
And I mean, there's a point, I think, you get you kind of unlock your base. It felt like it was about halfway through, but I can't really remember when it was.
Yeah.
Pacing was all over the place. But you basically get this base. It's on a smallish island in the middle of Chicago or whatever, and it's like the most perfectly set up place for a massive fight at the end, or just a big fight scene where you have to take people out and like put explosives to trap them, and it just never happens. Like, it's one of the most depressing things ever. You just
Yeah, because you go there initially, you find it, and it's this huge place, and there's all these nooks and crannies and all these different things. You think, right, there's going to be some baddies here that I can fight or something, or mix it up a bit. There's no baddies. You go and you find it, perfect place still to have a massive fight. No fight ever happens there.
Yeah.
The fight happens on a lighthouse.
Spoilers.
Whoops.
So biggest game of 2014 so far, and bit disappointing.
I'd say the biggest disappointment 2014.
Biggest disappointment of 2014.
Oh no, was Thief more of a disappointment?
No, because there wasn't as much expectations with Thief.
No, there wasn't. No.
No.
Yeah,
well, I don't know if I wanted to say any more about Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I think again it's another product that we have seen suffer from too much hype and being announced too early.
Yeah.
We always clamour for this, right? I want 1 million games to play on the console. Oh, at this next big convention, please announce 100 different games. But the more and more they announce them earlier and earlier, the more prepared we have to be to let down by them eventually, to be honest. Yeah. And you see that left, right, centre with films and stuff like that. Sin City 2, for example. 10 years in the making. And then it was like, meh. But yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about Watch Dogs anymore.
No, I think we're over it. We're done.
I'm over Watch Dogs. We'll talk about Watch Dogs 2 when it's announced in about a month or something.
Yeah.
Comes out in 3 days' time, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Good work, Ubisoft. So, Watch Dogs, about 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think that's about fair. It's pretty lame. It's a good game, but it's just a bit nothing else to what it should.
No, it is. It's decent. That's according to it's decent. That's according to our own scale. It's decent.
It's decent. Yeah, that's a pretty fair evaluation. Yeah.
It's got elements that are enjoyable. It doesn't really do anything special at all.
Cool. That has been the review check for Watch Dogs. I hope you enjoyed it. Go out and rent the game. Don't buy it. And leave a comment saying what you thought of the game. If you really enjoyed it. If we were wrong. If we were playing a different game or something. And yeah, just thanks. So stay around on the website starsound.com. We're changing everything up at the moment, so I don't know what it's going to look like when you click on this to see it. Check out all our reviews, all the stuff we've been writing, and the videos we've been doing. Follow us at the Star Sound UK, and we've got a Facebook site as well. I can't remember what it is, but just type in the Star Sound and it will come up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. I've been Chris Slane. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And my good friend Andrew Muggleton. Thanks for joining me.
No, absolute pleasure as always.
Brilliant, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Cool. Bye.